Good morning and welcome to Herb Oracle Podcast, botanical divination with herbs, essences, flowers, and trees with your host, Herbal Marie. Let's start the day off pulling some oracle cards and getting a few messages. We can shoot the shiitake in a spiritual way-ish. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'll post a pic of the cards at Herb Oracle. Thanks so much for joining me. Here we go. Oh my God. Do you have all day? Do you have all freaking day to hang out with me? Because, good morning, that is actually how long it might take to go through these 12 beautiful oracle cards that I just have smeared all over the table in front of me. The herb of the week is elder. So yeah, welcome back to Ho for week 9 of 2020, and it's elder, and it's a doozy because, oh my gosh, like, it's just so magical, so incredible, so historical, so powerful, so wise, so necessary. So it's like I feel a little bit overwhelmed because I know how intense all these cards are going to be and full of information, but do you really want to get to know elder on an energetic level, on a spiritual, on a woo-woo? And definitely gonna have to get nerdy a lot of bit today because it's elder. So I have some elderberry syrup in the fridge right now, just elderberry tea. All I do is make a really strong elderberry tea and mix it with raw honey. Bam, that's my syrup. So I've been taking doses of that. It's delicious. But we're gonna learn what else we can do with elderberry. Elderberry from a magical standpoint, elderberry, of course, from a physically and energetically, emotionally protective standpoint. We got a lot of different cards here. We got a card here that says change. We have a card here that says death. We have a card here that says ritual and compassion and ancient wisdom and magic. And we have two cards here. One that has an elder mother and an elk of light. So we have, and one that says cyclicality, cycles, right? So we got a lot of different things. 2 tarot cards, the rest are oracle. Holy crap. So anyways, how are you? Do we even have time to acknowledge each other? Do we even have time to acknowledge each other? Kind of not. It's kind of like, all right, new week, new you, new me, let's go. Anything that's happened in the past, forget it. We're starting fresh. We got things to do. We got things to manifest. This week, we're going to be manifesting more compassion. And we actually have a compassion card out here with an elderflower. So our little dragon butterfly is joining us early this week. Last week, we finished the week with an elder card, and it was just kind of fun how that all worked out. So I'm drinking my echinacea tea, right? Finally got that echinacea podcast uploaded to Herbal Marie. Then I had to do an on the porch shoot the shiitake podcast at Herbal Marie called You Can Chill Out and Take Antiviral Herbs, just to remind everybody that whatever virus comes our way, we are well equipped to support our bodies and our immune systems. So then, yeah, I'll be working on a tarot podcast and then catching up with the borage podcast, then hopefully another tarot podcast, and then I'll do a nerdy elder over at Herbal Marie. But that's Herbal Marie. We don't care about her right now. What we care about is diving deep into our herb of the week, elder. So I think what I'm going to do now, put my teacup down. I'm gonna, they're all spread out. I already took the pictures for my Instagram Herb Oracle. because I was like, let's just take a picture now, because I don't even know how. There's just so many cards. It just feels like so many cards. So what I want to do now is think, how do I want to do these in order? I think we'll start. Since it is a doozy, we'll just start with a doozy. We're gonna start with the Healing Herbal deck, which has this awesome tree. She's got her hands up in the air. She's got her third eye open. Her heart's open. Her energetic roots are grounded. It says Elder Ancient Wisdom. I think this is the one we should definitely start with, because Elder just goes back so long, and that's what it teaches us too, you know. I feel like to really tap into that ancient wisdom that we have within us and that we have access to. So we'll start with this one. This will cover all our bases. Like, it'll give you a good overview of Elder. Like, if you cannot hang out with me all freaking day talking about card after card after card, this will give you a little taste. And goodness gracious, I mean, ain't no shame in having to take all week to listen to one podcast, because you got to chop it up into sections. But if you're home, if you've been told to stay home this week because of all the craziness going on with the corona, then hey, let's hang out. And then let's maybe even hang out again this week on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, Sadie Marie Cherico. If you're on Facebook, come on over, either add me as a friend or follow me. If you're a guy, I'll probably not follow you back. Just kidding. I'm letting go of everything, you guys. I really am. Like, I'll tell you what, that's the one thing about heartache. At one point, all of a sudden, you do feel better, and you find yourself again. You're like, what was that all about? So I actually am in a really good place. Getting sick last week, I felt helped me, because I was like, I don't give a shit about nothing. And then now I'm just back on track with my projects and my oracle cards and things that bring me joy, and meditating and taking care of my body and getting my body balanced back out. So anyways, let's next do, I'm making a stack of cards so I know how to do them in order. Next we'll do the illustrated herbiary card, Cyclicality. It has the goddess symbol of the full moon and the two crescent moons on either side. It's going vertical. It has elder flowers and really twisted kind of cool branches. And yeah, it has like the different cycles. Like down at the bottom there's the berries, and the center is the flowers, and then the branches up at the top have like icy snow hanging off them. They're bare. So it's all about cycles in our life. And yeah, we have to honor the cycles in our life, how our body cycles, how the seasons cycle, how life cycles. The cycle of life and death. That'll take us to our next card. It's a tarot card, the Herbal Tarot. Elder Flowers is the death card. Definitely a pretty death, you know, like very feminine. She's standing behind the elder plant. There's a fiery sun, probably setting behind a mountain in the background, and death is holding two roses, or one rose stem with two buds on it. So anyways, very pretty. We'll put that. I feel like the collective right now is dealing with their issues of death, right? Everyone's afraid to die. Why is everyone afraid to die? Think of all the things you'll get out of. Won't have to go to the dentist. Actually, I'm going to call the dentist after we're done hanging out and cancel my appointment. Hell yeah, I'm canceling everything. I mean, I live for this, you guys. I would love to postpone having my face drilled for another month or two. That sounds okay to me. So anyways, I think then after death, I think we'll go with change. All right, we have the Magical Herb Oracle, and it has the word change on it. We'll do this one next, and then, but you know what? Actually, I probably should have done before change. Well, that's okay. Hey, I said it. This way we'll do it. Then we're going to go with one that has fears, nightmares, and foreboding. The elder Ald Mother. So, yeah, like maybe we should linger and talk a little bit. Everything has to change. Eventually, your body changes from physical to non-physical, I guess, right? So, yeah, like maybe we should talk about that. Talk about why it's such a fear for people to have change. We'll just see what that card has to say. What's interesting is this is from the new deck that I got, the Plant Spirit Oracle, and this has two elder cards. So I guess we'll do them back to back while I have that book out. So there's this scary elder card with the mother, and she's got this really dark gray face, and the elderberries is kind of like her hair. Anyways, it's intense. The artwork is like, it was scare kids, you know? And yeah, so there's that card, and then there's this elk who has these big horns and with all these elderberries. Like the elk is the elderberry bush. It's really amazing, and it's called Elk of Light, and it's all about protection, refuge, and guardianship. So it's really, I've really like wondered why there's two elder cards in this deck. Didn't really like question it further than that. So that'll be pretty cool to look into. All right, then we'll talk about, let's see, after we talk about protection and guardianship, let's talk about compassion, or at least acknowledge this card with the butterfly dragon. I'm not really going to read out of the book for it because we'll be sitting with this card Wednesday, but it's got a beautiful large blue, that's what it's called, a large blue butterfly. That's the name of the butterfly, and it's all about compassion. So we'll acknowledge some compassion. Then I think we'll go to the wisdom of the trees and see what that says. Then we'll go to the botanical hedge witch and talk about, then we're going to go to the herbal tarot and talk about the Four of Fire. Then we'll talk about then we will talk about ritual and magic with our hedge witch, and then we'll finish up with the Celtic tree card because we love those. All right, so anyways, I sort of just flushed through those last ones, but there's my game plan. I hope to God I don't drop these cards, or I'll have to just go with the flow. Hey, that's all we can do. That is all we can do this week. No matter what happens, all we can do is go with the flow. All we can do is go inside. All we can do is tap into our ancient wisdom. All we can do is stay at peace. Whew. All we can do is connect. So anyways, thanks for joining me. Go make yourself some tea. Get comfortable. I need to maybe do some jumping jacks so I could just maybe up my energy ever so slightly, so we don't drag this out. But there is a lot to cover with Elder, and I don't want to rush it really, actually, because Elder deserves our respect, 100%. Every plant deserves our respect, but especially Elder. All right, ready? Here we go. Yep, it is good to have a game plan. So we've got our order of cards. I don't know how I'm going to display all 12 of these cards. Usually I have 4 cards, I got a little ledge and a little card holder, but 12 cards? All right, so they might have to take turns, but yeah, we're going to hang out with Elder all week. So our first card here is from the Herbal Healing deck by Sarah Baldwin and Ashley Verkamp. It's all about ancient wisdom. I think maybe I'll slide this over and I can have it in front of me while I'm talking. All right, it's all about ancient wisdom. So yeah, it's purple. She's so pretty. It's purple and pink, and there's this energy blob in her, she's sort of opened up in her heart space, and there's this energy blob that kind of, did you ever look at the sun? You're not supposed to, but I do every once in a while, especially like when it's setting. And like actually just yesterday I was looking at the sun while it was setting, and I stared at the sun, you guys. Like I just was like, but it was I was in my house, like, so it was actually through 2 panes of glass, and it was like out on the horizon. But like you could start to see like this energy moving in the sun, and then when you would look away, you would see this like multicolored cosmic blob, and that's what it looks like inside of her. So her hands are up. There's like these pink squiggly energy things. There's these white dots, which would be like the flowers, and these purple dots, which would be like the berries. It's a really, really cool card, all about ancient wisdom. So we start off with a Rumi quote. All right, we're good to go now. I love Rumi. Rumi said, "Do not be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth." So do not be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth. Create your own story. Make your own manifestations. Get your own energy going. Like, you don't have to relive the stories. You can make your own. So elder, quite popular in herbal medicine, the berries of the elder tree are most often used for treating colds and flu. Yep, that is what it is popular for. It is lesser known that nearly all parts of the plant can be used for varying purposes. Elder can calm the nerves, increase circulation, and improve digestion. So yeah, that's just a few of its key medicinal virtues. Elder can do a lot. And that's with like every herb. Like echinacea got popular for stimulating the immune system, but then as we went nerdy with it, we realized that it can do so much more. And that's like true to every single herb I am finding, So it is truly a quintessential plant medicine, a symbol of the healing that is derived from ancient tradition and knowledge. So there are species of elder native to the U.S. and the United States, but it is from Europe that we receive the bulk of myth and lore surrounding this mysterious tree. So yeah, when there is elder present, there is magic, right? Tales of magic will abound. Associations with Jesus and the cross, with the fairy world or underworld, and with shamanic ceremony are a few of the more momentous ones. So yeah, I think we're going to cover that in other of these guidebooks. It's said that like the cross that Jesus was on was made out of an elder tree. The fairies, yeah, like you hear like maybe like don't fall asleep under an elder tree because you might get lost to the underworld. So yeah, folklore and fairy tales paint this tree as a gateway to other worlds, to what some shamans call non-ordinary reality. This is the land of the fairies, of magic, mystery, and wonder. If you've watched Harry Potter, then you know the Elder Wand is the most powerful, right? Unable to be defeated. So yeah, this is intense. Elder is intense. Great creative feats can be accomplished with the help of the archetypal forces available through the elder. And yeah, we're going to find that we have lots of archetypal forces today, from like a mother to death to an elk. I mean, there's lots of different things that are going to come through today. So I wanted to start with this card because it's just so important that we all understand that even when we're feeling small, we have access to this ancient wisdom. And when we get this card in a reading, it signifies, when drawing this card in a reading, it signifies your readiness to awaken to the magic that is all around you. So yeah, this tree, this beautiful violet-eyed tree, violet and pink eyes, She's basically knocking at your door saying magic is all around you. So do you feel that call? I looked over and saw 606. That's the number of compassion for me. Invisible forces are knocking at your door, beckoning you to heed the call to adventure and learning. Just as elderberries help move stagnant blood and fluids, any emotional or spiritual stagnation can be cured by seeking higher knowledge. Yeah, what a great time in our life to do that. So ask yourself, what are you curious about? What are you curious about? What kind of higher knowledge are you curious about? Studying a mystery tradition, philosophy, or spiritual path will be especially beneficial to you now. The journey could also begin by following the path of a coincidence or intuition that brings you beyond the mundane. So it's time to awaken to the magic. I mean, as I do like one nerdy podcast after another over at Herbal Marie, I'm like, oh my God, people, like, aren't you bored with this yet? You know, it's like, I mean, and I'm a nerd and I love being a nerd, but don't you think there's more to life than just information? And it's like, yes, there is. There's a calling inside of you to connect with magic. It's all around us all the time. And yeah, I mean, at some point, it's like, I respect everybody's nerdy journeys. Be a nerd, just a nerd, as long as it suits you. But most people at some point, I feel like, are going to get hungry for more of a connection with herbs. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, you guys. I know it. So when you immerse yourself in the mystery of life, this will allow synchronicity to unfold and guide you into unprecedented creativity and magic. So yeah, the more you tell the universe, I like that synchronicity, this is fun. Like literally you will see synchronicities all the time. You know, coincidences, whatever you want to call them, but like you'll start to connect the dots. You'll start to see the similarities. You'll start to really have fun. You'll start to see numbers and hear songs that just say the right thing at the right time that make you go, oh my God, like I live a magical life. And everything just kind of lines up and you get what you need when you need it, and you get understandings as you're open to them and ready for them. It's really, really good. But this book goes on to say, and yet a word of caution before embarking on the path of wisdom. Do not allow yourself to be overtaken by the myths and the stories, or the archetypes and the characters you encounter. So Elder has been long treated with the air of a wise teacher who demands respect, and superstitions regarding this tree are common. Legends of an elder mother residing within the tree have given folks reason to ask permission before cutting or harvesting the plant. People are also cautioned not to fall asleep underneath an elder, for a journey into another world can be dangerous for the uninitiated. Even the almighty elder wand can backfire on its owner when its ancient magic is misunderstood. So yeah, I mean, I guess take precautions, know that you should, respect all types of energies. But I like that it did say, like, don't get overtaken by the myths and the stories. You know, like, just like Rumi said, like, those are stories. Unfold your own myth. Okay, this is time for you to be making yourself as your own archetype, yourself as the hero of your story, you as the teacher, you as the student. Like, really, I feel like Elder says, of all the things that Elder has said to me, I feel like it's always like, okay, and now it's time for you to do your thing. So it is amazing medicine. I mean, holy God, Elder is just incredible. It is gently sedative and relaxing to the nervous system. The flowers especially suit this purpose. Even their scent is slightly narcotic. As you enter into the mystery, the key to higher knowledge is remembering to relax and care for your needs. A calm nervous system allows you to enter into meditative and enhanced states of consciousness without difficulty, fear, or harm. So yeah, I love that it chills everybody out too. But yeah, if you are going to be opening up your mind to newer energies, you do have to be calm. You cannot be embarking into the unknown full of fear. That's just, if you are, that is your signal to turn around and do more work within yourself before you go into anything new. So treat the energies you encounter with respect and love, but do not become consumed by them. So this guidebook is just so awesome. So she goes on to say, this lesson is exemplified in the Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale, The Marsh King. So if you're not familiar with it, in this story, a human woman stumbles into another world through an elder tree, and she encounters a supernatural being called the Marsh King. Yeah, sounds romantic, but he holds her captive, and it's not, and she becomes his unwilling wife. So when you blindly seek out and worship archetypes, you run the risk of losing yourself. And yet, when this single caution is kept in mind, you may find that the pace of your life quickens and you become immersed in fresh ideas and creative projects in a way that is exciting and fulfilling. Archetypal forces operating in your life become more apparent. The muse whispers to you from beyond the veil. Magic abounds. So yeah, I mean, it's really like just old energy to be like worshiping any type of archetype or getting lost in it. I mean, it's good to know about archetypes and hear the stories, get the lesson, get the information, but ultimately you never want to lose yourself. So you must know yourself. You must be so acquainted and familiar with your own energy before you do any type of other mystery work. It's very important. So yeah, I mean, that's a word of caution. And even basic stuff. It's like think about like you interacting in a social group. Like, isn't it so much better for you to know yourself and your energy so you're not swayed by everybody else, right? You don't become like somebody's puppet or, get yourself caught in a pickle, something that you normally wouldn't choose. There's a lot of wisdom in that advice, to know yourself, be secure in yourself, so you don't lose yourself. But to wrap it up from the Herbal Healing deck, this is a very special time for you. Elder grants the ability to both avidly study ancient wisdom and make up your own mind about what you discover. So yeah, think about, what are you curious about? Like maybe you've always wanted to do more spells, or maybe you want to read like the Emerald Tablets, maybe you want to read the Law of One, maybe, I don't know, like what are you curious about? Sacred geometry, like there's a lot of different things on a lot of different levels and approaches that you can learn more about. Shamanism, right? Then you definitely need to know yourself before you venture there. But you can study ancient wisdom and then still make up your own mind. You don't have to take anything word for word. You don't have to accept anything 100% as your truth. You can study it, have an openness, but yet a discernment, an intuition, and decide for yourself. Make up your own mind about what you discover. The Elder Mother reminds us not to idealize our teachers, no matter how wise or mystical they may be. The message is an encouraging one, ripe with possibility. You have the power to move between worlds. You have the power to dance with the gods. And you have the power to return with creative genius. So yeah, you can move between the energies, you can move between worlds, you can move in different dimensions, you can really pierce the veil, right? You can dance with the gods, you can play with the archetypes, you guys can hang out. And then, because you are powerful and because you know yourself and because you are secure and grounded, you can return with the creative genius. Yeah, so like basically that's a podcast in itself. We could stop right there and just be like, okay, I know everything I need to know about Elder. So yeah, the Herbal Healing deck is an awesome deck. If you've not yet gifted yourself an herbal deck, that is a great one to start with. Absolutely. All right, so now we are moving on to the Illustrated Herbiary by Maya Toll. And it's all about cycles, cyclic, it's just such a hard word to say, cyclicality. There. Elderberry, Sambucus nigra. So elderberry, she says, traditionally lives at the center of the garden, telling stories of winters past and springs yet to come. So if you've never seen an elder tree or bush, whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's recognized as a tree, but around here they look kind of bushy. They're often scraggly and a questionable centerpiece. Her three faces embody the goddess. So she represents maiden in the spring, abundant with her white petals and beautiful flowers. Then the elder represents mother in the summer, when the wine red berries adorn her branches. Okay, and then she also represents crone in the autumn, when her leaves are falling away. And then she says, she looks quite dead in winter, all bare branches and hollow bones. So yeah, no matter where you are in your life, like at some point in the season, you can relate to the elder tree, right? Whether you're the beautiful maiden with the flowers, or you're the mothering energy with the nourishment and the abundance of berries, or maybe you just feel like me, like all the leaves are falling away, just kind of looking a little scraggly, and so maybe you relate to the crone aspect. Oh no, don't say you relate to the winter, the dead bare branches and hollow bones, but even if you do, it's like, hey, that's where you're at right now, and guess what's coming next? Spring. You know, so we all have cycles in our life. And I swear to God, sometimes in one day I go through, like, I'll look in the mirror, I'll be like, hey, maiden. Later I'm like, hey, mother. 5 minutes later I'm like, what's up, crone? I mean, I go through, like, it's like, it's interesting. It's like, you're like, who am I? Like, sometimes you look like grandma, sometimes you look like goddess, you know, but it is all goddess. It is all goddess, regardless. All right, going on. Elderberry's yearly evolution teaches you to dance with the closely twined cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Wherever you are in your life, Elder reminds you that acceptance of life's cyclicality is the key to earning your spot at the garden's center. So why is it at the garden center? Because it's wise, right? It's ancient wisdom. She is the wisdom of the goddess. Elderberry, elderflower, elder is the wisdom of the goddess. So this is a gorgeous card. Well, let's switch my cards here, y'all. Let's switch my cards. This is a gorgeous card, like I described before. with the goddess symbol and the different cycles. Now, this book is also gorgeous. I know I say that every time. And there's a ritual and a reflection for each herb in the illustrated herbiary. So the ritual is called the Wisdom of Return. And then the reflection is going to be called the Upward Climbing Spiral. So ritual and then reflection. So the Wisdom of Return. So it goes to say that in our modern world, time can feel quite linear. We march from birth to death, forgetful of the ancient wisdom of return. Living cyclically, which means with an awareness of the cycles that form the foundation of our existence. Okay, living with that awareness of cycles can change our perspective in profound ways. So take a deep breath. Our breath is our first cycle. Inhale. Exhale. All right, our breath is the first cycle. Next is the cycle of day and night, from dawn to dusk and back again. Beyond that is the 28-day cycle of the moon, and on and on. So there's a lot of different cycles. The ritual is to choose a cycle to celebrate. So choose a cycle to celebrate. We should all be celebrating our breath, absolutely. But you can celebrate day and night, or you could celebrate the cycles of the moon, your menstrual moon, the 28-day cycle, the cycles of the seasons, the years. Choose a cycle to celebrate. You might, for example, greet the sun each day and send her off in the evening. Yeah, I feel like I do that. Or you might commit to standing outside for a few minutes each night, observing the movements of the moon. A cycle includes the next beginning, so if you celebrate dawn and dusk, celebrate the following sunrise as well. If you are a moon watcher, commit to following the moon past the beginning of her next cycle, so you can witness the repetition as she comes around again. So yeah, you don't just want to do it once, you want to keep with it so that you can really experience the experience of cycles, right? So yeah, if you like wake up with the sun and then, tuck her to bed at night, make sure you get up with her again. Make sure you stick with it for a while. And really just see what it has to teach you. So yeah, don't just go out to the moon for a couple nights. Stick with it for a couple months, or just always do it. It seems fun. All right, so here's the reflection from the illustrated herbiary, the upward climbing spiral. Our evolution is an upward climbing spiral. We repeat lessons, some of us more than others. We repeat lessons, gaining wisdom as we go. Hopefully, right? Oh my God. Okay, don't fall, Sadie. Don't fall back into anything. We have learned so much. But if we hop from thing to thing, never repeating, declaring things done after one go-round, we deny ourselves this growth, this ability to evolve into the goddess at the center of the garden. Oh my God, I love this so much, because it's like saying you are evolving into the goddess of the center of the garden, right? The center of your life. Your life is the garden, okay? And you are going to be the archetype now of the goddess, right? You are evolving. But if you don't stick with anything, if you don't like, why do you keep learning the same damn lessons again and again and again? Because you don't harvest the wisdom. You don't reflect enough. You don't contemplate enough. You don't get it. Like, you don't experience it fully. Maybe you're like sometimes things hurt and you're just like, ouch, that hurts, and you run away from it. Well, guess what? You're going to get that same lesson again because you didn't get the lesson, right? So stick with things, okay, a little bit, or sit with them a little bit. Allow yourself to evolve into the goddess by learning your lessons and gaining the wisdom. So here's some questions for contemplation. Do you take the time to dive deep, allowing cycles of repetition to enhance your understanding? So, like, I'll just use myself, like, with the moon. My guides have been asking me for like 2 freaking years to keep a moon journal, to notice like how I am swayed by the moon, and I never wanted to do it. Okay, so literally, one, shame on me for getting such direct suggestions and being like, I don't want to. But anyways, literally, I had to relearn my lessons of the moon again and again and again and again, because I was being a twat and didn't want to take the time to just note how I am influenced by it. Now, as I'm starting to evolve into the goddess at the center of the garden, barely, I'm like, dang, hot dang. Like, I'm seeing now how important that is, just to know how my energy may be influenced, right? And it's like, holy crap, like when I go back and like if I had like a map, you know, like on the wall where I have like little push pins, and I go back and I'm like, oh, that tantrum and that tantrum and that tantrum that I had within me was all right before the full moon, or 3 days after the full moon. You know what I mean? Like I can almost pinpoint now, looking back, like when the stuff happened. And so my guides are like, yeah, that's why we wanted you to keep a moon journal, you ass. Do you allow new knowledge to take root in your hands and your heart through practice? Or do you hold knowledge only in your head, denying yourself true learning and wisdom? All right, so the question is, do you allow, when you do get new knowledge, do you allow it to take root in your hands and your heart through practice? That's why it's like, don't just observe the moon cycles for 1 month. Do it for many months, right? Through a practice. Don't just appreciate the sun coming up for 1 day. Do it like every day, so you can have this hands-on experience, so it can be grounded into your heart space as knowledge, right? As wisdom. Or do you just hold knowledge in your head? Like, so you're like, yeah, I get it, like in my head, but you haven't really put it into practice yet. It's like you can read a book of spells and understand intellectually magic, but have you done it? Are you like energetically involved? Like, there's a difference between just having knowledge in your head or having it take root in your being, using your hands, involving your heart, right? That's true learning and wisdom. So it's just a question honey. Which one have you been doing? Okay. And so if you haven't been taking the time to dive deep and allowing the cycles of repetition to enhance your understanding, then Elder is coming at you today with an invitation to do that, to really walk your talk, right? Or dive a little deeper of the things that you are curious about, or really test out things for yourself. Really learn your lessons, like not just intellectually, but like viscerally, with every drop of your being. That is wisdom. And as scraggly as she is, that's what Elder has done. And that is why she is a goddess. So we're going to end this little card with a quote from Natalie Goldberg from the book Writing Down the Bones. And she says, "It is odd that we never question the feasibility of a football team practicing long hours for one game. Yet in writing, we rarely give ourselves the space for practice." So it's like whatever you're doing in your life, writing, singing, dancing, loving, learning, whatever you're learning about, kind of like be like the football team. Practice, practice, practice. That's what it is. It's a practice, you know? If you're, man, whatever you're doing, I'm thinking compassion and forgiveness now. It's like if you're trying to walk a path of forgiveness or a path of presence or a path of magic, it's practice, practice, practice. Did I say this podcast might be 2 hours long? I'm thinking like 7. Okay. Now we're on to death. Thank God, right? Now we're on to death. Death is number 8. Let's see here. Number 8 in the Herbal Tarot. So I'm in the Spirit of Herbs by Michael Tierra and Candace Canton. Looking for death. Realizing I don't know my Roman numerals. I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Strength, Hermit, Medicine Wheel. I'm confused now. Wait, this isn't 8. That's 13. All right. See what I mean? Like I really am. I guess there we go. Found it. X111. Okay, that. You're right. That is 13. Not 8. 13. All right. God. So, is it? I'm so confused. Yeah. Okay. All right. Elderflowers. Sambucus nigra. It's ruled by Scorpio. So death is ruled by Scorpio in the Herbal Tarot. So death. Oh, let's talk about it. Death is a symbol of rebirth, transformation, change, and initiation. The sun I got this card all wrong. The sun in the background is rising. A new day is being born. So, okay, well, that should tell you how I perceive death. I was like, oh, the sun's set and it's all over, folks. But actually, the sun is rising. Okay. It's rising. The cycle is coming back. A new day is being born. The blooming red roses I told you that death is holding in her hand there, the blooming red roses symbolize the rejuvenation that we will experience by shedding our old skin, our old worn out ways for the rebirthed self. So you've maybe heard me say many times, I think I just said it like a week ago, like I have died so many times in this life. Like, and you can maybe relate to, like, think about who you were 20 years ago. Like, you ain't that bitch no more, right? Like, you have died to your old self. You've died to old ways. We have many, many deaths all the time as we release what no longer serves us. Death of the old is necessary for the new to emerge. The old is like the compost heap, full of rich experiences from which new forms emerge. If we resist changes, we may experience pain, emotionally and physically. But if we exercise our creative imagination and visualize a new, more peaceful, at ease self, a self that is in a better position than before, then we can move more easily through the unknown fathoms of death and let it take us from constrictive patterns of the past to emerge like a phoenix soaring upward. So basically, if you resist, you're just going to feel the pain and the horridness of change. But if you are at ease, if you are more peaceful, if you go with the flow, then you can emerge like a phoenix, okay? Soaring upward in that cycle, that spiraling energy, right? Death is getting down to the bare bones. It asks us to look at our true inner yearnings for emotional and spiritual peace. It asks us to be reborn through our union with a greater power. So yeah, I mean, that's probably what's going on in the world right now too. Like everyone's freaking out, afraid they might get sick and die. And it's like, okay, that's our cue to connect with spirit, to connect with a greater power, to connect with the immortal self, with that presence within. So elderflowers are called the herb of purification here in the Herbal Tarot. The herb of purification, elderflowers. So we'll talk about the spiritual properties and then the medicinal properties. The elderberry bush has for thousands of years been venerated by people of many parts of the world for its magical and medicinal properties. Here's some more lore. In lore and legend, it is an emblem of sorrow and death because old traditions held the idea that the cross of Calvary was made of a giant elder tree. From that time, the story goes, the elder was never able to grow into a tree, but forever remained a bush. In Europe, the elder was trimmed into the shape of a cross and planted on new graves. If it blossomed, the soul of the deceased person was believed to be happy. In pre-Christian Northern Europe, the elder was intimately connected to magic, and it is said that magic wands were fashioned from the elder branches. This herb, the herb helps to allow the death of the old to be transmuted into the new, rebirthed self. It acts as a guardian spirit during the metamorphosis and brings ease as the transition occurs. So that is the spiritual properties of elderflowers. Now, elderflowers medicinally are used for clearing congestion and putrefaction during the onset of a cold and flu. A tea of the flowers mixed with equal parts of mint and yarrow blossoms is an excellent internal cleanser and detoxifier for such conditions. A tea of the flowers combined with an equal part of sassafras is a good remedy for clearing the skin of blemishes and acne. So you could make a strong tea by combining 1 ounce of herb to 1 pint of water, steep it for 10 minutes, and drink it as hot as possible. Then go to bed and sweat out the cold or flu during the sleep. Elderberry wine has been used in the same way, with the addition of a little cinnamon to further promote its diaphoretic, which means sweat-inducing capacities. So 3 cups may be taken per day if you need to sweat something out. You could just wear some elderflowers as an amulet to remind you to be open to changes and to clear out spiritual congestion that may be obstructing your rebirthing. So just connecting with the flower, even closing your eyes and visualizing the elderflower right now and say, please help me clear out my spiritual congestion. Take the tea or the herbal essence during the onset of a rebirthing time to allow the old self to be cleansed and the new self to emerge. So yeah, this is talking specifically about the elder flowers. If you don't have elder flowers, you could use linden flowers and leaf or chrysanthemum flowers. But yeah, this death card, it's all about rebirth, shedding the old, the end of old relationships, elimination of outworn habits and things. What needs to die in your life, right? What type of renewal are you ready for? It can also mean merging with another or with the cosmos as an expansion of consciousness. So yeah, it's like people don't think they want the death card, but actually it is more about new beginnings. Like, yes, it's about the endings, but then bam, as the cycle goes on, it's instantly about the new beginnings. So the death card here on the Herbal Tarot is all about transformation from one form to another. And you know, when I was a kid, like, I would be upset about dying, and my mom would remind me, as the science teacher that she was, that you are energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed. So she would say, you are just going to change into a different energy. And I was like, okay. So renewal, release, rebirth, shedding the old. Oh, I know when I turned 40, I felt like I shed an old skin of being in my 30s. It felt so good to just be done with the 30s, right? Like, so sometimes death is absolutely glorious. And yes, I've heard non-physical channelings, spirit saying the same thing. Death is glorious. It's waking up from the dream and remembering who you truly are. So an affirmation that we can say is, as the serpent sheds its skin, I renew myself within. Yes, changes. We have to really start to embrace changes, and that's one thing that Elder helps us to realize. Like, you have to let go of the old to start something new. So we are on the Magical Herb Oracle card now, and that's the word it has on the front, change. It's number 8, Elder. And yeah, this oracle does have a meaning of it is time for change, right? It is time for transitions and developments. Perhaps something has had its time and needs to come to an end. So it's really important that we learn from the past, that we take what we need to, move forward, right? We take the lesson, you guys, learn from the past, but, keep the lesson, keep the wisdom. So take what you need forward with you, and do so with the knowledge that hesitation or resisting will only cause additional pain and draw out the inevitable. So that is, like, if you're in a relationship and it's over, but you just don't want to let go, so it drags on and on and on, and then it does become painful and resentful and miserable because you're not letting it go. You're dragging it out. So that's what causes the pain, y'all. And we do that in our physical bodies too. And yeah, that's why a lot of people, like, energetically, they are really ready to die, but they just hold on to this illusion in this life, and they just end in such a painful way. It's like, humans have sort of created that for themselves. Like, instead of more peaceful passings, we've created more painful passings. So regeneration is possible now for those wishing and willing to plant themselves and their plans elsewhere. Look to your true inner self to find what it is you not only desire, but require. So it's time for change. What are you interested in? What does your true inner self need? What does it want, right? It is possible. Change is always possible, but this card's saying, yeah, especially now. So in magical use, magic with a K, magical correspondences, you can use elder flowers and berries for banishing, exorcism, enchantment, prosperity, cleansing, and healing. So those type of spells you can use elder for. The deities connected with this card with elder is Aphrodite, Venus, Dryads, fairies, Hecate, Loki, Devas, and Holda. I'm not familiar with all of those, but It's ruled by the planet Venus. The signs are Taurus and Libra, and the element is water. So it's definitely an emotionally charged card for sure. So here's an elder change spell. If you are ready for change in your life, for change within yourself, right? Any type of change, here's an elder change spell. Okay. First of all, planting elder near your home will protect it from negativity and evil. Branches of elder were placed on top of a buried body to protect it from evil, and leaves collected on the last day of April can be tied around windows and doors to stop witches from entering a home. But what if she's already living in it? It is considered not safe to sleep under an elder tree because fairies may take you away. So find somewhere else to take your naps, you guys. All right. All right. So you can use this spell when seeking change in your situation. So you're like, dang, I really need to get out of this or change this. I'm ready for something new. Get a glass of water, 1 teaspoon of dried elderflowers, or a dash of elderflower cordial. You'll need a sprig of fresh thyme, just your garden thyme, Thymus vulgaris, and a slice of orange. So water, a little bit of dried elderflowers or a dash of elderflower cordial, a sprig of fresh thyme, and a slice of orange. Into the glass of water, mix the elderflower. If you're using dried flowers, place them in a tea straining ball first, okay? Place the elderflower cordial or whatever in there, and then stir the drink with the sprig of thyme while saying 3 times, time to change what has been and what is. Time to change what has been and what is. Time to change what has been and what is. Add the orange slice and say out loud what it is you wish to change. Say out loud what it is you wish to change, and then drink the mixture. So what is it that you want to change? I mean, how about fear? I think fear is something everyone would like to change. Of course, there's a lot of outer experiences too that we would like to change. But yeah, fears, nightmares, foreboding. That's the card that we're on now. Elder with the mother, with the A-E-L-D, Ald, mother. I feel like that's a Celtic word. So yeah, changing our fears and changing the things that like literally are nightmares, whether those will be inside of us or one that we are living. That is definitely something to enlist change in. Yeah, we want to change out of that type of energy. So now we're moving on to the Plant Spirit Oracle by Dana O'Driscoll. And this is the deck that has 2 elder cards. I know, right? 2 elder cards. So let me see. Okay, so she has both in the guidebook. She has one. The 2 cards are both under the elder. I was like, why is this one so long? Yeah, because she put both together. So let's just bring both cards up here now, I guess. So we have this mother with the fears and nightmares and foreboding. Now let's bring up the elk, which is a whole different vibe. He's like in a lighted clearing. He's magnificent looking. He's all about protection and refuge and guardianship. Elk of light. So we have elder, the mother, and elder, the elk of light. So the elder tree, Dana Dana is very smart. Her blog is very interesting. She has the elder tree has over 26 different varieties found throughout the world. Here in the eastern U.S., most common is elder, the Sambucus canadensis, or the black elder, which is depicted on both elder cards. So we got the local variety on these cards. According to Greaves' Modern Herbal, more names for elder include pipe tree, boar tree, bower tree, helder, highland tree, eldrum, and elhorn. All of these names have rich histories and are steeped in lore and tradition. Hey man, she's been around. Elder in this deck has 2 cards, not one, representing its different sides. So there, I wondered why, because it has 2 different sides. So like any powerful magical plant, elder has both beneficial aspects and warnings to heed. For example, as long as elder wood is kept out of the house, it can bring a host of magical protections and connections. However, if you bring elder into the house, the elder wood, the spirit grows angry. Napping under an elder tree is a very bad idea. It is believed to cause madness, probably because of its association with gateways to the other world and fairy traditions. Given these complexities, both sides of elder are presented in the Plant Spirit Oracle in 2 separate cards. So she really felt like it needed the scary mother card. And I'm telling you, the artwork, like if you was like 3 or 4 years old, you'd be like, Mommy, I hate that card, you know. And then we have the beautiful elk. So elder typically grows in areas that are damp or wet, such as ditches and floodplains near streams and lake shores, but it also loves most forests as well, either along the edges or as an understory species. So she talks about the elk first. The elk of light is the light half of the elder tree. So protection. Elder elk suggests the need for metaphysical protection. While protection is also part of the knotweed card, that card refers more to physical safety and protection, while elder is working in the metaphysical realm. So yeah, we talked about this too. It's like, make sure you know yourself before you start working with energies outside of yourself. Protecting oneself from hostile energy, hostile magic, and hostile spirits is a primary role of elder. This card suggests paying attention to such protections and creating them for yourself if you haven't already. A bit of elder planted outside the home or berries carried with you are 2 such protective strategies, as are other kinds of amulets, stones, magic wards, and more. So I got lots of dried berries. I could put a few of those in my medicine bag if I wanted, or my pocket. If I really was like I needed to make really strong intentions of protection. The next key word with the elk of light is refuge. The elder elk card also suggests taking refuge. In many parts of the U.S., elk have only recently been reintroduced into the wild, and herds are still small, fragile, and in need of refuge and protection. This card may be suggesting a similar need for you to protect yourself, to take refuge, to work to shelter yourself from the larger issues at play. So yeah, it's like sometimes you do need to reel it in, right? Everyone's in a state of refuge right now, wanting to stay home, protect themselves from this mysterious virus or whatever. And Yeah, but protect your space, sure. Guardianship is the third key word of the elder elk of light. Just as the more friendly side of the elder has long watched over humanity, so too does this card suggest some kind of guardianship or mentorship. It may be that you are in need of such assistance, or it may be that you are to provide this to others as part of this situation as at hand. So that's the meanings of that card. But yeah, it's an awesome looking card. They're both awesome looking in their own way. But let's go over to the darker card now, the Mother card, all about fears and nightmares and foreboding? All right, so the Ald Mother, A-E-L-D. The name Elder comes from the Anglo-Saxon A-L-L-D, Ald, meaning fire. So that's the Anglo-Saxon word that elder came from. So the hollow cord elder was used as a tube to blow air into a fire. The Ald Mother, unlike her light counterpart, represents the darker half of the elder tree and plays to our darkest fears. So the fears represented in the Ald Mother card may be very rooted in real things, things that keep you up at night, that have you moving to new locations, that have you changing your behaviors or engaging in other such actions. The Ald Mother asks us to face our fears directly. For it is only through facing our fears that they no longer have any control over us. So she's saying like, oh, is my face scary? Look at it. Look me in the eye, right? Face your fears directly. And as soon as you do, they no longer have control over you. Nightmares. The Ald Mother represents the stuff of nightmares. Unlike our fears, which are often rooted in reality, our nightmares are often the stuff of fantasy, the darkest places that our mind takes us to, the terror of our darkest dreams. Ald Mother is there again, asking us to face them and to see that these nightmares may be of our own creation. So she wants you to look at your fears. She wants you to look at your nightmares. Why? Because you don't want them to have control over you. And two, especially with the nightmares, it's like, oh my God, that was crazy. What was that all about? Well, she's saying, you created that. Foreboding. The Ald Mother may also serve as a warning that something bad is on its way. Being forewarned is being forearmed. And knowing that something is on the horizon is one way of making sure you have the advantage. Tread carefully. So yeah, like with this whole coronavirus thing, it's like, yeah, some people were like, oh, I don't want to hear anything about this. Yeah, but isn't it good to know if the enemy is about ready to attack? You know what I mean? Like, okay, so use the forewarning as a blessing, and now you are prepared for whatever, right? You don't have to be in fear. You're going to look at this straight in the face. You're not going to get you down. But shit, it don't hurt to be prepared, Spray your essential oils everywhere. Do your healthy immunity stuff. Just be ready and don't freak out. So, herbalism. As a food, elderberry is high in vitamin C, as well as vitamin A and iron and calcium and potassium. The elder is a highly medicinal tree with a range of uses for the bark, leaves, flowers, and berries. The flowers are primarily used as a diaphoretic, that is, they increase peripheral circulation and are used for fever support, so it makes you sweat, the flowers. Elderflower is a wonderful support in influenza cases, especially for addressing body aches. Likewise, elderflower increases circulation and sweating, which helps rid the muscles of the toxins that build up during influenza. So it's like, why is your body aching? Because it's building up toxins. So elderflower helps increase your circulation, helps you sweat it out, helps you feel better. So elderflower combined with boneset is particularly helpful for supporting a healthy fever response. Finally, elderflower is a strong immune supporter and can be part of a daily herbal routine to combat regular seasonal illnesses. So yeah, some people just swear by elder. They're like, yep, I take a spoonful of my elderberry syrup every day and I stay healthy all winter long, right? And all the time. So that's good to know. You can take your elder all the time. She does have a recipe here for elderberry immunity elixir to help strengthen the immune system. So she says you need to either get fresh or dried elderberries. She says if you pick elderberries fresh, stick them in the freezer for about 20 minutes, and then that makes them much easier to destem. You do not want the stems in there. You just want the berries. Combine 1 cup fresh elderberries or half a cup of the dried. Then she uses a tablespoon of fresh ginger, a quarter teaspoon of cloves, 1 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon according to your taste, and a half a cup of honey, and enough water to cover the mixture. So actually add all the ingredients but the honey in the saucepan and bring to a simmer. And then you simmer for 1 to 2 hours covered. That's a long time, isn't it? I think I've been slacking on my simmering. As the berries cook down, mash them up. Allow the mixture to cool till it's warm to the touch. Strain out all the solid ingredients and then stir in your half cup of honey. You can freeze this or can it if you want with a hot water bath method. But yeah, that doesn't really actually make that much, like just keep it in the fridge. But yeah, that's your elderberry immunity elixir. So I'm such a frugal girl. Like after I do make elderberry syrup or elixir or whatever, like I put those berries back in the pot and I make like a watered down tea. Like I really like get everything out of them. So yeah, I love elderberries. I'd like to connect more with elder flowers, but definitely I think we should all connect with the elder mother and the elk of light. So allow ourselves to be protected while we stand there and look our fears and nightmares in the face and understand that they don't have control over us. And a lot of them, most of them, probably all of them, were of our own creation. And then, allow ourselves to be guided, or maybe be a guardian ourselves as we take a little refuge, a little protection, a little break. And yeah, really, I just want to say honor the lessons for what they are, because even the things that we're afraid of and scare us, they definitely have something to teach us. And a lot of times, like what they have to teach us is compassion. So I'm looking at our beautiful large blue butterfly dragon on the elderflower, this sweet little card, compassion. Sometimes like we don't understand why other people have fears and nightmares. We're just like, come on, shake it off, or you're being ridiculous. And it's not until like we experience that ourselves that, we have this compassion. So you don't want to learn all your compassion that way, but sometimes it's necessary, to have just an understanding and an acceptance and a relatable quality towards humanity because you yourself have experienced it. So yeah, elder definitely teaches us about compassion, and that's what this little butterfly has to say. I wasn't gonna look in the book for this because we're gonna talk about it again on Wednesday, but sometimes she says like why she picked the elder, like she says why she picked the flower for that. And I just want to see if she says anything to it. But I think it's just, we want to be able to look at all things and still hold compassion, right? We still want to, okay, so let's just talk about the corona because it's on the table. If you are the one that's like, this is getting blown up, there's an agenda, this is stupid, right? That's like how I first approached it. It's like, you still need to have compassion for other people where they're at. There are some people literally being suffocated by fear with this whole thing. And you need to offer them maybe the guardianship and the protection and the guidance and the love and the light. Just understanding, everybody is on a different path, has a different perspective, and so do you, right? So there's a lot that we can do. But I'm excited to manifest more compassion with you on Wednesday. So yeah, this black elder, that's the kind that grows around here, and that's the kind that's on the card of the Wisdom of Trees Oracle, black elder. So what's really fun, elder, it really is all over the place, oracly, right? Oracally, oracly. And this card has a message of abundance, right? So that kind of ties into people's fear of lack, right? That's the one thing that everyone's been going crazy this week. They're panic shopping, they're hoarding, they're buying all the toilet paper, they're buying all the supplies. Well, that's shorting other people, right? They're not being very compassionate, like if they're just taking, but everyone's just freaking out, and it's that lack mentality that does that. So now we have black elder, right? We had black elder saying, well, what do you want to change, right? We did a change spell. What do you want to change? Do you want to get out of this fear? Do you want to get out of this lack mentality, lack of compassion, lack of magic? Do you want to be abundant? And that is what this sweet little teacup on the card, there's an elder in bloom, and then on the table here, or ledge, there's a cup of elderflower tea. And there is a message of abundance with the black elder. So the deva of this tree is coming in to say, I have ancient powers and can bring you abundance and protection. My flowers bring you refreshment in the hot summer, and my berries give you sustenance in the autumn. If you honor me, I will send you many blessings. So yeah, she definitely wants to be honored, and yeah, there is a dark side to elder, right? If you don't honor her, the leaves and the raw berries are said to be poisonous, right? So that's why we cook elderberry. Yeah, the fairy realm, it's make sure you ask permission to be here. Don't sleep under the elder tree, right? You have to honor the elder tree. And if you do, she'll bless you. So the elder is traditionally associated with the white goddess who brought benevolence and healing. So elder trees were commonly planted in gardens and on farmland to bring good fortune and protection. The white goddess in the center of the garden. Later traditions contradicted this, saying that the tree was maligned because Christ died on the cross made of elder, and Judas hanged himself from an elder tree, right? So it took a turn. The tree has many medicinal properties. Elderflower tea is excellent for treating nasal and sinus problems, and a hot decoction of the berries has antiviral properties. So yeah, the elder wants you to trust in the abundance of the world around you. Trust in the abundance of the world around you. Concentrate on everything that you want to attract into your life. feeling and thinking as though you already have it. And then give thanks for your many blessings. So are you focused on what you want in your life? Or are you focused on lack and fear and manifestations that scare you? What you give your attention to will bring it forth. So make sure you are giving your attention on everything you want to attract in your life. Feel it, think about it, love it like you already have it, and give thanks for your many blessings. So that's a good reminder for us to quit manifesting scary things and stuff that we don't want. She also wants to just remind us, do not take anything purely at its face value. What at first seems like a simple situation can sometimes soon reveal itself to have many complex facets. So it is neither all good nor all bad. Learn to see the light and shade in everything around you. And that is what Elder teaches us too. It's like, if you want the light, you have to have the dark too. Like the dark and the light are one. This contrast, you get it all, right? So it's not like you can pretend like there is not things in the world that don't exist. Like its existence is essential for the light to exist, right? So in a way, like without fear, how do we know love here, you know? But yeah, it's just saying that regardless of what's going on though, learn to see the light and shade in everything around you, okay? It's not all bad, it's not all good. Kind of just learn to be in surrender and acceptance of what is and allow it all to exist, right? So you don't need to like push away from anything if you don't want it. It's not like you have, because see, people like think, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. Well, you just told the universe that you wanted it by putting your attention on it. So Elder is like, pay attention and put your energy into what you want. Do you want a fearful life or do you want a creative life? So on our next card, the Four of Fire from the Herb Crafter's Tarot, we have a very crafty table. We are looking at a space that we can make magic. So what do you want? Do you want this linear experience of pain and fear, or do you want a life of magic and creation and just wonderful stuff, right? So Elder, the Four of Fire, says to make a little magic. Stir up a special ceremony. This card, the Four of Fire, the Elder card, says holy helpers guide you and lend you power, right? Do you want a magical life where you connect with more energy that's available than in our physical realm? I think we do. So this is also a message to honor the beings who guard the liminal places. So let's look here. We have a wand. We have a wand on the table. A wand is being crafted on a table brimming with activity. I mean, we got a lot going on here. Potions, plants, and yarn are scattered about. Berries spill out of a wooden bowl. A fire glows inside a wood stove. And an embroidered pillow of Guadalupe rests on a rocking chair draped in silk scarves. The room is cozy and full of light. So what do you want to create? What do you want to manifest? Create a safe space to make a little magic. Elder provides protection from stormy weather to small creatures and tender plants. It is a striking hedgerow. It's a striking hedgerow plant steeped in mystical lore. So this is a message for you to invoke the aid of holy helpers, like the crone who lives within the elder tree, guarding the portal between the land of the living and the realm of the dead. She appears in the frothy white blossoms of summer and the dark berries of fall. Practice magical arts and move between the worlds. Honor the old ones. Elderberry syrup is a sweet remedy that heals a body weakened by invaders. Build a foundation that will sustain your work so you can create the life you desire. So yes, this is all about creating the life that you desire. Elderberry is here to protect you on that, but you have to do the work too and make sure that you are focusing your energy onto what you want. So we do have a little contradictory information, like we were just said, like don't bring in the elder tree into your house, and then here we are making a wand. So I guess it's all about, that whole don't get caught up in the archetype stories. It's like, I guess, believe whatever you want. But here it says you can craft with the 4 of fire by hanging elder boughs over the door to get your creative space to honor the threshold. So, Ghostbusters. I'm afraid of no ghost. Just popped into my head. I'm afraid of no ghost. Maybe you'd like to craft a wand of power. The creative process of making magical tools is transformative. So if you feel the call to connect with magic with a K, this is just feeling like the right week to do it. The right week to open up, as my crown chakra is asking me to massage the top of my head. Open yourself up to energies as you feel secure and protected to do so. Maybe just make an elderberry elixir, okay? For your health, for your immunity, but also to connect with your ancestors. So it says, make an elderberry elixir, offer it to your ancestors during a dark moon, and then listen for guidance. So yeah, if you do want to connect with a lot of these ancestral wisdom or your holy helpers, you have to quiet down then and listen to your guidance, right? You have to go within and be quiet. So there is a lot of power and connection and ritual. That's our next card here from the Hedge Witch Botanical by Solo Thompson. She has a message of ritual. So yeah, crafting these magical wands, carrying berries in your medicine bag, just consciously connecting to the spirit of the plant. Consciously connecting and offering some of your creations to the elders, and then listening for any of that wisdom being, resounded and mirrored back to you, right? So do whatever resonates, right? You don't have to do anything that doesn't resonate. And that's what Elder was saying too, like, make sure you're putting your attention on what you want. Yes, there is light. Yes, there is dark. What do you want to bring to you? What do you want to connect with? So be really conscious and deliberate is what Elder is saying. Don't just be a dummy and take a nap under an elder tree. Know what you're doing deliberately and consciously. And that's what you do whenever you're taking elder into your body too, and the medicinal properties of it. You're like, yeah, I'm being very conscious to promote my health, to strengthen my immune system, right? Like, you are honoring your vessel. You are honoring the plant. So I'm not even sure what she could tell us that we haven't already covered, right? But yeah, everybody either knows elder because of the berries or the blossoms. It says the dark blue, almost black berries can be eaten ripe, but are poisonous when unripe. So yeah, there is a dark side to elder. You gotta know what you're doing. You have to be deliberate and you have to be respectful. All green parts of the plant are poisonous. Okay, so, but the mature berries can be made into your syrup or jam or jelly or liquor. And then elder flower is highly prized for its fragrance and sweet flavor. And it can be made into a syrup or a cordial, confectionery flavoring, or even delicious fritters. This plant is used medicinally to treat bronchitis, cough, upper respiratory cold infections, and fever. It's antioxidant. It says its antioxidant load is thought to lower cholesterol, improve vision, boost the immune system, improve heart health, and combat colds and flus. So yeah, it's good for a lot. She makes her elderberry syrup with elderberries, and she either uses a little bit of dried mint or chamomile leaves and flowers with her berries. So that's a new twist on it too. If you're not like really keen on the ginger and cinnamon, you don't have to add anything. You can just do berries. But she does chamomile or even maybe mint. So that might be something fun to try. Yeah, let's see. They used to use the hollow stems to blow into the fire like we talked about, but also to make wind instruments, pipes, even pop guns and whistles. There is a lot of superstitions that swirl around this tree with magic and witchcraft, and each elder tree is believed to hold a feminine guardian spirit known as the elder tree mother or Heldmorer. So let's just stick with elder tree mother. One should not cut down the tree or take her branches without making an offering and asking for permission. So if you do want to get crafty or just harvest, always ask permission and then stand there and see if it feels right. See if it feels okay. Do you feel welcome to do so? If not, keep on moving. If not, go to another elder tree. So to ask for permission to take wood or branches from the tree, you say on a bended knee, you get down on one friggin' knee and say, Elder Mother, give me some of thy wood, and I will give thee some of mine when I grow into a tree. Or some variation. You will know if permission is granted if the tree becomes still and silent for a moment. So you get down on a knee and say, Elder Mother, give me some of thy wood, and I will give thee some of mine when I grow into a tree. And then watch and see if the tree becomes still and silent for a moment and how you feel, okay? So anyways, a little fact here. To protect animals and harvested crops from harm, farmers in some agricultural societies would place a cross made from elder on their cow sheds and barns. So yeah, folklore to the max with the elder card. But in this deck, the Hedge Witches Botanical, it has a oracle property of ritual, and of course that has been inspired by all the countless ancient traditions and rituals surrounding the elder tree. There are records of using an elder branch in wedding ceremonies to bind two people. There are rituals for seeing and communicating with the fae, with the fairies. There are rituals for the planting, harvesting, and use of the tree itself. So rituals are an important part of community building and daily life structure. Enormously helpful to those who aspire to lead thoughtful and productive lives. So she prompts us to think about ways personal rituals can enrich your life, whether they take the form of journaling, exercising, maybe a sacred ceremony, or something as simple as making a daily list of what you would like to accomplish, right? So there we go again. Elder being like, what do you want to create? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to focus on? This is a great daily ritual. And then, have that ritual of journaling down your gratitude in your Grateful Goddess Appreciation Journal. Like with this cycle of the day and night, bringing in that gratitude, bringing in that thankfulness, getting your mindset on what you want to attract. Rituals can strengthen relationships, ease tension, and provide structure in this busy and often hectic world. So Elder is definitely inviting us to have more rituals, to have more spells, to have more things that we do for ourselves and others in our own personal journey and in community as well. So that just leads us right in to our second to the last card, the magic card from the Enchanted Spell Oracle by Priestess Moon. This is Magic with a K. Magic with a K, all about being powerful, imaginative, being the sorcerer that you are, right? So this is elderflower. The elderflower was one of the most useful herbal remedies in medieval times, with the flowers and leaves being found to contain anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antioxidant properties. Now, if you're like me, you're like, okay, so leaves, good or bad, right? It just seems like we kind of went back and forth like as to what parts, we can use from the elder. So disclaim out the wazoo. Always do your own research, and maybe let's look into this a bit more. So we are looking at the Priestess of Magic. She's holding two elder branches in each hand. One has berries, one has the flowers. There's a spiral, with 3 spirals. There's an emblem. Oh, that's so cool. She also has the ash tree, the elder tree, the ivy, the oak, and I want to say willow. Yeah, willow behind her in this mandala, this botanical mandala behind her. And she is lit up, like behind her. She almost has like that Jesus Christ enlightened circle thing around her head. She is wise. She is woke for sure. So elderflower wine is a well-known and delicious byproduct of fermenting the flowers with water, lemon juice, and yeast. The magical properties of elderflower include spell work for prosperity, health, and protection. So I am protected definitely is a good maybe affirmation for elder. I haven't really been writing them down. So far I am a goddess that honors the cycle of life. I access ancient wisdom. But we're definitely going to put something about protection in our affirmations this week. So let's talk about the Priestess of Magic that we have on this card. And I love her dress too. The Priestess of Magic performs enchantments beneath an herb wheel containing some of the most potent Celtic sacred trees: elder, ash, ivy, oak, and willow. In her hands, she holds the berries, leaves, and flowers of the elder tree, ready to begin powerful magic with them. Beside her is the symbol of the triple goddess, a triskel representing the maiden, mother, and wise woman. So she didn't go crone. We got upgraded to wise woman. So maiden, mother, and wise woman. So when this magic card appears, it is time to stand in your power like a priestess. This card is a reminder that you are a spiritual being having a physical experience, and you can absolutely have a powerful effect on how your life works. So yes, the divination is just asking you to wake up to your powerful self, your magical self. Heck, just if you're not into magic, just call it the laws of the universe, right? Law of attraction, all those laws we did last year. It's just kind of pretty practical, really, but it all boils down to you being magical, honey. All right, so be the priestess that you are. The key words for this card are confidence, skill, and creation. This priestess is a powerful manifester, able to create the things she needs in her life using both her heart and mind and the divine power of the universe. The priestess of magic has one foot in the physical world and one foot in the spiritual world, acting as a bridge between heaven and earth. There are similarities between this card and the tarot's archetypal magician. So yes, you are the magician, you are the priestess, you are the creator, right? And yeah, that's what we initially started off talking about with Elder, moving in between worlds, going back and forth, connecting with these archetypes, and then learning your lessons and creating your story the way you want it. So you can make an elder flower potion. The fruit and flowers of the elder tree are well known for their regenerative properties. So bring a little magic into your life with this most potent potion that uses the beautiful essence of the elder flowers. So yeah, she's pouring in a little cup, in a little shim, in a little frosted glass. She's putting some elderflower liqueur, some elderflower cordial, a little bit of lemon juice, and she's putting it into a cocktail shaker filled with ice. She's shaking it robustly and pouring it into a frosted glass, and she's topping it with champagne. You could, just top it with sparkling water if you wanted a mocktail. But anyways, she's saying bring this magic into your life, connect. Yeah, a little bit of champagne, that will make you definitely feel like you have one foot in the physical world and one foot in the spiritual world. But that is who we are. That's what makes us magical human beings. We are conduits. We are the connection between heaven and earth. We have both within us. So yeah, like human beings really are truly magical. Oh my goodness, magical priestesses, did we really make it to our final elder card, number 15 in the Celtic Tree Oracle? That just worked out perfect too, because the priestess of magic, she was with all the Celtic trees that we've just been hanging out with again and again. The oak and the willow. She had ivy and ash and elder. So yeah, elder is symbolically so important. This is a simple card with like a watercolor painting of some elderberries and flowers and leaves all together. So anyways, this is our last card from the Celtic Tree Oracle by Sherilyn Hidalgo. We definitely have the crone aspect of the goddess in this card. And also Thoth and Mat and Hecate, Hecate. That's another deity and guides. We have totems of cranes and storks and the crow. So anyways, just to recap, the key words with Elder, this card and pretty much all our cards, is all about renewal, transformation, release, regeneration. This also has a keyword of cauldron, death, birth and rebirth, cycles, endings and beginning, ancestors, elders, sages, and transmutation. So yeah, that seems to be the theme, right? With all of these cards. with the energy and spirit of elder. Whew. So the elder initiates the 13th lunation and the portal that rules the ending of the Celtic year. Therefore, elder is concerned with transformation and the death of the year. We gather the last of the harvest now and store the seeds for next year's growth. The elder encourages us to use this time for personal withdrawal, retrospection, and release. Death and rebirth and the passing of the soul from the physical realm to the spiritual are all sacred to elder. This tree encourages us to connect with the ancestors and to converse with those loved ones who have passed through the veil. So, yes, that's what we're talking about today, right? And a lot of people are fearful, of death, and they feel like when people have died, like they're gone forever, but actually it's just really a thin veil, and you have the ability to connect with them. You do. Not that it's saying that it isn't hard and it doesn't suck, but it's like we do have to remind ourselves that we are indeed spiritual beings just having a temporary physical experience. So this elder in a reading, the elder represents a threshold, a doorway that you are approaching. So as you stand at the door, take time to review your year and to honor it. Mat, the Egyptian goddess of balance and discernment, is available to you, as is Hecate, 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 the crone for the healthy composting of what no longer serves you. So it is time to clean up after the harvest, that which you have created in this last year. Let go. Let go of that which is no longer relevant. But save the seeds of new hopes and new potentials that you will care for over the winter. It is time to seek knowledge of ancient indigenous ways and to reconnect with your ancestry. The veil between the worlds is thin now, which makes this a time to communicate with your ancestors and others who have passed over. They have much to share. They can infuse you with new life and hope and magic. Seek out your elders for wisdom and guidance. So, Elder's theme is the end in the beginning and the beginning in the end. It marks a time for personal withdrawal, retrospection, and release. It is a time to surrender old ideas, projects, outworn patterns, or stagnant relationships. As you take stock of your year, look at the themes. Look at the themes. Do you hear me? Look at the themes, okay? Those are your lessons. That's your recurring stuff, the themes. Give yourself credit for what you have accomplished. Let go of your disappointments and forgive yourself for mistakes. You are not the person you were last year at this time. You have transformed, and you will continue to do so. Allow the regenerative energy of Elder to infuse you with energy for the new. Okay, so I love that because we know we weren't even the same person we were last week, let alone last year, right? So I want to read the reversed meaning of this, and then we'll end with the Deva to close us off. And then I better pull together some affirmations for Elder. This is not one plant I want to do wrong. So our culture has a disdain for death and for the aging process. Although there is much that we can do to remain active and healthy, we do well to honor our elders. So, yeah, and like I've been reading Eckhart Tolle, and he's saying, like as we age, we kind of, our form dissolves, but then the light of who we truly are can shine through. Anyways, that just popped in my head. So, if we get this card reversed, it might say that you might be avoiding the deeper questions of life just now, or you might be caught up in meaningless activity that keeps you on the surface. So, are you ignoring the part of the cycle that takes you deeper and asks you to question your life choices and face your morality? Yeah, that's exactly what the coronavirus is freaking everybody else out about. Everyone's like, oh my God, I forgot I was immortal. If so, fear is the usual culprit. If you are currently over-identified with your ego, you are invited to visit the spirit realms and deepen your experience. Question your beliefs about death and take a more spiritual approach to life. So if your ego's running the show, if you're caught up in fear, if you're freaking out, that's a real good sign that you need to get more spiritual ASAP. Okay, like that's what your life experience is missing right now. So if this card is reversed too, it is saying, do you tend to ignore the elders in your life, thinking they have little to teach you? Do you have much contact with older people? Do you know much about your family heritage? This may be a wonderful time to do some research about your lineages. Take a moment to think about how you stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before you. So our ancestors, they are our greatest cheerleaders. They are there for you if you but ask. So like any spirit guide, like any energy, you have to ask. Okay? Angels, fairies, whatevs, you have to ask. You have to ask for their presence, their wisdom, their advice, their help. If you want them to be your cheerleader, all you have to do is ask. So you can connect with your ancestors in any way that feels right to you. But yeah, you have to ask. All right, so on that note, let's take a deep breath and we will finish up with Elder. I am the Elder, and I draw close to you as I represent completions. I am here to guide you as you let go of the past and review what has been created. I hold you as you look at everything that has been created up to this point. I thank you for your endeavors and hard work. I see your joys and disappointments. I honor you for everything that you have experienced in this ending cycle of growth. I support you totally as you bring things to an end, and I offer you encouragement as you look to the future and to bright new horizons. It is time to begin a whole new chapter in your life at a whole new level. I am here to guide you and support you to plant new seeds and make new choices. I stand with the elders and the ancients. We are here for you. We offer you our wisdom. It is time to release something so you can move ahead. Perhaps the pond you are in is too small. Perhaps you need a leap of faith. You may find a whole new life ahead of you if you take the jump. Go ahead. You have contemplated change long enough. You have thought about consequences and sought advice. Be kind to your fears, but don't let them block you. Move forward and embrace the new. Holy hot dang. Thank you for actually hanging out with me all freaking day long. But wasn't that amazing? So many messages of magic, of release, of endings, of beginning, of protection, of fears, of darkness, of more magic, of abundance. Like, oh my gosh. Elder is incredible. Elder encourages us to go with the cycles and look our fears in the face and not be afraid to change. We are guided. We are protected. We are filled with love, light, and compassion, right? We are filled with strength and vitality. And if we do get a little invader, then Elder is coming in to clean us out and make us feel better. So get crafty, get into your magic, embrace your rituals, and start to focus on that which you want to create, because you are a priestess of magic. You are a creator. So now let's be deliberate about it. Let go of the old and embrace the new. It's time for change. It's time for you. This affirmation minute is brought to you by our Herb of the Week, Elder, and I dedicate all these affirmations to you, beautiful, lovely. I am a goddess that honors the cycles of life. I access ancient wisdom. I am protected and guided. I am physical and spiritual. I focus on what I want to attract to me. I create a magical life full of ritual and connection. I am a goddess that honors the cycles of life. I access ancient wisdom. I am protected and guided. I am physical and spiritual. I focus on what I want to attract to me, and I create a magical life full of ritual and connection. And so it is.